We are back here on Girl Talk, and Gigi, thank you for sharing your beautiful office. This is Women's Financial Network. We didn't really share where we were before, but it is a treat to see you. I came here early, and we were talking about women and finance, and it really is about relationship building.
Absolutely. It's a collaborative partnership, really, between the planners and the clients. I mean, it's a relationship that we build over a period of time.
You know, it's interesting, we were talking about what you wanted to share today with us, and Betsy and you and I have become friends over the years, and one of the things that we've had in common is we're pretty dynamic and fluid as far as careers and things, interests and things we want to do. And that was a little bit about what you wanted to share and talk about.
Absolutely. It's about women in transition, because at each phase of our life, we're going through a transition of some part. Either it's transitioning from one workplace to another workplace, or a workplace to entrepreneurship, or marriage to divorce, or marriage to parenthood. And each step along the way, we have to change and tweak our plan to be prepared for what that transition is going to create moving into our future.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too. It's like you just said, the different transitions. Some of them are really exciting transitions, right? And some of them aren't so exciting. But all of them require planning.
A change in planning, exactly. Absolutely.
At what age do you recommend someone come in to see a financial planner like yourself?
The younger the better. In fact, we had a very enthusiastic young woman call a couple of weeks ago. She was coming into an inheritance money, and said, I want to do this right. I researched you online, and can I come in today? I mean, that's a dream.
Right, yes,
of course you can.
Yeah, she came in, we discussed it, we got a good feeling for what she wanted to do, what her goals are, and she's now a client.
Are we as women educated? Do we research before we come in so we have somewhat informed questions, or are we pretty much blank slates? I'm sure that's individual. But.
Yeah,
well, and it is. We're all so different. I mean, the three of us sitting here, I'm sure we have completely different paths.
That's right. Different needs, different,
But also, we're not uninformed. I just think we're so busy. We are so busy multitasking in life that it takes a back seat. And oftentimes, if we're a part of a partnership, it's like, oh, honey, you can take care of it, or I just can't be bothered, I have too much to do. And as women, we budget everything in our daily lives for a family, for a household. So why take a back seat to our personal finances? Because they're critical to our future.
Why do we do that? Are we intimidated by the number piece? Well, you're a numbers girl, though.
Well, okay, so I am. That's what I do.
That's what she
does.
does.
My real life, but I was not educated in that. So it's kind of, believe it or not, it's kind of a newer thing to me. But I do like the puzzle of it.
Yes.
Yeah, we were talking about puzzles with Tyler.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
But I do like the puzzle of it.
Yeah, and it is a puzzle.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, is there a rubric of things kind of must-dos, and then if you have extra, or depending on where your interests are, or how risk-taking you are, is there a formula that you follow, or is it really finding out about Betsy, in a young Betsy, and me getting to be at 66, looking at a whole other phase of life?
Bless you for saying young me.
$20.
There you go. After the show. You just laid it out. I mean, all of those are pieces of a puzzle that we have to recognize are important in our lives. You have, when you're paying off your college debt, you're 22, 23 years old, but you also have to establish an emergency fund. Just because you're still young, can't really depend on your parents any longer. You have to,
correct.
It's up to you now. So you establish that emergency fund, and then you start planning, I'm paying off my college debt, I'm going to get rid of my roommates and move into my own apartment. Now I'm going to start investing. I mean, it's a step-by-step process, and although everyone wants to jump and just launch into investing, it's really better if you start with your emergency plan. What happens if you're laid off unexpectedly.
okay.
Your car breaks down.
Which mine did this week.
Oh, interesting.
We could have a show about that.
Exactly.
I went through that last
Well,
week.
you know what's interesting is I know a lot of kids, actually older people too, who go to seminars, and it's kind of a one-size-fits-all seminar.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
here's what you should do, here's what you shouldn't do, and I guess that I struggle with that kind of thought process.
It's so generic.
Right. Yeah. And that just doesn't work.
It doesn't.
I mean, it just doesn't.
And it's good to have someone to bounce your ideas off of, your questions. And a lot of times, I think we discussed this once before, women are intimidated to ask a question for fear of it's wrong, it's silly, you should know that. And if we don't know it, we're going to know it, we'll figure it out, and now we know it, and we can share it with someone else. So there's no ignorance when it comes to finance. You just have to get into it, ask the questions. And
We're going to take a break, but I would love to come back and talk about, if Betsy and I are clients, things that we need to be prepared with.
Yes.
Okay, so that when we come in, we can actually have a good conversation about it. Stay with us. There's a lot more to come here on Girl Talk.